says that though he begets not, he does not begotten, though he begets not. As you see, like you said before, about where the Jews say that they're Ozer, and Christians say that Jesus. And then before that, we know that they were sons. You know, in religions before that, you had Mithra, you had Osiris, you had all these different, where God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is expressing his uniqueness, that he's not, does not beget or begotten, and that he is one. You know, that he does not beget, addressing those Christians, the Jews, Persians, and all those others who had those ideas that God had sons, their son Hercules, and all these things, son to God, that he is one. That's not, does he address that? Is that also, you know, I'm just...
Well, Allah, in this surah, from the tafsir, the different tafsir, you know, the tafsir, as Shawkani said, tafsir comes down in the words of the Quran, and it's not restricted to the asbab al-nuzul, the reason why it was revealed. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deals with these situations in other places in the Quran. It says, وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا. You know, it says, and they say that, you know, that Allah has taken a son. They've come with something, you know, azim. The heavens and the earth are about to fall from what they're saying. So other places in the Quran, Allah mentions, you know, the deviant statements, you know, about them saying, وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا. Lots of different places. What does it say in Surah Al-Kahf? I forget the actual ayah, but it mentions in a few places in the Quran about them taking sons, and Allah addresses them there. Here it's not restricted to not meaning that, but it makes it clear that Allah does not take sons, and he wasn't born, and that this is a fallacious statement to
It
him.
can also be said that these sons, that if you say he has a son, that they have some type of divinity also.
Of course, that's what they claim.
Shuts that off and takes it.
Right. I mean, it's pretty clear, you know, for the Muslim, you know, I wasn't gearing this conversation for those people who believe in that, you know, those Christian type people. But for the Muslim, it shouldn't be a difficult thing to understand that Allah doesn't have any sons and he didn't take any sons. You know, maybe for the Christians, that's something that's new for them to understand. But for the Muslim, this is something that is part and parcel of our belief system. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no sons and is not the son of anyone. Okay? Yes, sir.
I thought that the hadith of the Sahaba was in the time when he was reciting as far as I remember, only Qul.
No, there's another narration. His statement is that he remembered a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ's companion was just reciting Qul huwallahu ahad. I think maybe you stepped out. I mentioned that hadith also.
When they asked him, he says, because I was thinking it was the most needed at the time.
Well, no, I don't think it says that in the Arabic at all. Maybe somebody translated that erroneously, but it doesn't. I checked them all. I have them all written right here if you want to see them. You know, but it's no, that's incorrect. No,
he said that he would recite Qul huwallahu ahad and then another surah.
Okay, let me just make, you know, the brother made a statement about a hadith, and the hadith that he mentioned was incorrect. Just in some of the language, and the thing about it, there are a few narrations. There are a few narrations where the Prophet ﷺ mentions the love for this surah and how certain Sahaba, there was one Sahaba who was reciting it over and over, and someone saw him doing that, thinking that that was a belittling thing. He mentioned it to the Prophet, and the Prophet ﷺ said, I swear by the one in whose hand is my soul, you know, it's equal to a third of the Quran. And then another narration where the one who was leading them in Salah, and he was starting off with that surah and then adding some other surah to it, and the companions asked him to change that, and he didn't do it. And there's two narrations with regards to that. There are different narrations. Our thing is not to get tied around an axle about any of these things like that. The important thing is to understand that this surah is 1/3 of the Quran, that if you love this surah, that the Prophet ﷺ said to that Sahabi, your love for this surah has entered you into paradise. Okay, I specifically didn't want to mention that surah, because that hadith, because there's ikhtilaf about the understanding of that hadith, whether that was for that particular Sahabi or it's for everyone after them. Okay, so you know, there's some issue. I only mentioned it now because someone brought it up a little while ago, and so I think you brought it up, so we were going to say that. But the important thing here is that not to get into a whole bunch of, you know, going back and forth about the actual language. The sad thing is that a lot of these people are reading things in English and expounding upon that. Don't do that. Memorize the hadith in Arabic. Learn what those words mean. Then don't just learn the hadith, because the ulama say that the hadith lead everybody astray. What I say? The hadith lead everybody astray, except for the people of fiqh and the muhaddithun. Okay? So you have to go to someone who's a faqih. You have to go to somebody who's a muhaddith and they'll tell you what that hadith means. Okay? Don't just take the hadith. We are people, you have to have, what we were speaking about earlier, the prerequisites necessary to expound upon these ahadith. And if you're not an expert in the Arabic language, and I mean an expert, not that you speak Arabic, an expert in the grammar, because the ulama say that the argument of the fuqaha is the nahwu and sarf, the grammar and the etymology. You know, that is the argument amongst the fuqaha.